Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 2 of Beyond Cinema, presented by Neuway Media. My name is Brendan Grant, and I'm joined by Chris Murray. We are going to talk today about both of our jobs. We are both freelance cinematographers, and we really wanted to dedicate an entire episode to just talking about what our day-to-day work is like and what our day-to-day lifestyle is like, because I feel like, especially with social media nowadays, we have all these people who are trying to put on like their best life for the internet, and we wanted to give a much more transparent look at what it's actually like to be a freelance cinematographer, and how the work is and what the lifestyle is like and all that stuff.
What I want to talk about today is the actual lifestyle of living freelance. So less about how to succeed as a freelancer and more about just like what you actually endure, and hopefully you can learn and understand more about the freelance lifestyle and decide if that's the route you want to take, or if you want to do like something more in-house, long-term studio effect.
Right.
Such as talking about these job hiring, pay to hire sites, talking about expensing yourself and budgeting yourself properly, including mileage expenses and factoring in taxes, renting out your gear, whether you should own or not. Like, not.
That's a huge
I don't want to talk
conversation.
about if you should or not. Just my experience and what I've found out and what I've seen.
Fair enough.
I'm completely unbiased.
I remember like the very first corporate video I ever did, I shot it with Connor. I think we were freshmen in college, and Connor's his neighbor got us this gig, and it was like some big data firm. I put that in quotes because I have no idea what the hell big data is, but I just remember like we showed up at this office, and it was like this 60-second video about big data, and it was like these guys like sitting like we're sitting right now, but in a more corporate-y, like with suits and stuff, talking about big data, and then like some B-roll of them like working on their computers, and then we went home. And we got paid really well, and we were like freshmen, like shooting with like 5Ds or not even like a T3i. That's what we were shooting on.
Pays the bills.
But it pays the bills, exactly. So how do you balance that lifestyle where you have to do this work that might potentially be soul-sucking, pays the bills, makes you money, but you also want to do this creative work?
I mean, here's my opinion.
Like, what do you do?
My personal experience, but here's my opinion on the matter. Is you like, obviously without the connections, you can't just like come out to Los Angeles or New York and own a camera and become a cinematographer without a reel or any work build up. Like you can get hired for small things, but I just don't see how you could possibly be hired for anything professional.
It's really impossible
without a reel.
Yeah.
So you have to be juggling something else in the meantime for an income.
That could be for a long time.
Exactly. So there's two routes people go. People go into camera houses, or you can start shooting low grade, or not necessarily low grade, but you could start shooting commercials, or these like corporate video projects.
Like, you ever see those like car dealership commercials that look like they were shot on a green screen, and it's like poorly keyed, and they're like, "Welcome to Honda, whatever, Langhorne,
0% APR, 0% financing, 12 months."
Oh my god. Yeah, but videos like that, if you ever see those car commercials on TV, those are like, they probably paid a videographer with like a Canon T3i like $200 for the day to like go shoot this in front of like a fold out green screen and edit it together that afternoon, and then they put it on TV.
Dude, but these things pay decent enough. Like,
no, I'm exaggerating. They probably pay way better than that. But it's funny because there really isn't a lot of skill involved.
I know, like, it's a formula. If you just get the formula down, like a robot could do it, or a monkey could do it. It doesn't even need to be a human. It's like how TV shows like are such a well-bred machine that like really directors rotate in and out, and the show feels exactly the same because it's like the director can't really change anything. Maybe just get performance changes, but the way the show feels, it's like the director's not going to change that.
Yeah.
That's how these corporate gigs are. Like, it doesn't matter if it's me or Brendan shooting, it's probably going to look the same.
And there are things that we do, I feel like, because we struggle with this probably more than we even realize. We go through such an effort to be more creative on these projects, whether it's like trying to shoot more slow motion stuff or more smooth gimbal work, or trying to spend more time lighting the interview than we really need to because no one's going to know the difference. Like, I feel like it is those small things that, and even if you do put all that extra work in, you're probably not going to put it on your portfolio, but like it's still better for your like state of mind to feel like you're doing more. And it's good practice.
Just
too.
Because you're not playing the game doesn't mean you shouldn't be practicing all the time. You could practice things that you don't want to play around with on a real set. You have like more flexibility.
Yeah, true.
What was I gonna say? No, go ahead. Continue.
Well, so like what I asked before is like, how do you deal with it? Like on a day-to-day basis, what would you say is like the ratio of work that you get to do that's like creative versus...
Right. So I kind of went off a little bit, but I was going with like, some people will go just for the money because they're like, oh, I need to make money to get going. And they're like, don't like the inconsistency of work with freelance. So they get like in a camera house, or they get some other job as like like an assistant somewhere, or working at an agency, or not even doing anything in camera or PAing, just to get the money, which you need. I get it, to pay rent.
Right.
But then they never become cinematographers. Not saying that that always turns out that way, but they usually fall into a camera assistant route, which is like dope. But usually they come out saying they're going to be shooting, and then they kind of fall into that route, which is awesome and works. But the way I looked at it is, creative is what's making me want to do this, and those jobs are way more technical. You don't even need to technically know about like how to tell a story or the theory of film in general. Yeah.
Just point and shoot.
It's like when you're in the technical side, like you just need to learn that system and be an expert in that system, just like you can know and work on a plane but not be a pilot. So I care about the creative so much that it's like, or you could do a couple corporate soloist gigs a couple times a month, and then my schedule is way more free because I just made the same amount of money and I'm still shooting. I'm just not shooting a movie. I'm shooting like a corporate commercial, and I shoot like 3, and I just made the same amount of money as the person working at a camera rental house, and now I have all that free time to do creative work.
Or as the person at the part-time job at McDonald's or at a coffee shop or whatever.
Yeah. Or even being a PA, like sure, they're on set more. So it depends what you want and what route you want to take.
No, that's a really good point.
Do you like building the foundation of like working on set to set and just building your network and being constantly around people? Like that's such a resource as well. And
there also is something to be said about that probably too, because if you're supplementing your income by doing other things like being a PA or being an AC, maybe it's not necessarily creative stuff, but at least you're getting to be on set still, you're getting to network, so there is probably a bonus that comes with that too. But I think the trade-off is you might not be able to spend as much of your energy trying to get more creative stuff for what you actually want to be doing.
Dude, talk about what we just tried to get going. I mean, you really spearheaded it. All I said was like, I'm in, and I didn't really do much more.
Oh, the short film?
Yeah.
But yeah, we had friends who all work full-time jobs, and some of them it's full-time jobs doing what they actually want to do, and some of them it's not.
Yeah.
But they don't have any free time to work on the creative stuff. That might not be for money, but it's just because we are so passionate we want to do creative stuff.
Or they sink so many hours into their day job and driving in traffic that like the free time they do have, they're kind of burnt out and want to like have their own time too, so they don't have like a mental breakdown, you know, where it's just like nonstop working.
Yeah.
So I get it.
It's just choices, you know.
But they have security, you know, they have job. I mean, security, or like the feeling of security with those type of jobs. I mean, nothing is secure.
That's actually a good segue, because one of the things I want to talk about is the feeling of security versus like true security, and kind of how deceiving it can be because of like what you were talking about earlier. Like you can work a couple gigs a month and make the same amount of money as you would have made if you had to work every day at a rental house or whatever. But because at a rental house you'd be there every day, 8 hours a day, it gives you this sense of security that maybe you don't have by working only a couple days a month, because most of the days during the month you might not be sure where your next paycheck is coming from.
Yeah, I didn't like a week ago, I didn't have anything sealed for December, and now I'm like, I'm only doing like 3 or 4 days in December, but it's like enough money for me to be happy for like 2 months.
Right. So,
but I don't know that. It could have been a shit month, you know.
It's
that's the chance.
My point is, like, it's all a matter of perception. If you can get over that, and the trick is, you might be worried that this is going to be a bad month. Like, every once in a while I get a bad month. This might be one of them. Oh no. But like, if you start having less bad months, is what I'm trying to say, like, you can start to help train your mind to like get out of that worrying state of being like, yeah, I don't know if I might get a gig in the next 2 weeks, but I'm not going to worry about it, because like most of the time I get like a random call or a random email or a job pops up that I apply to, that I get, you know? Mm-hmm. And so what winds up happening is you wind up making just as much money as you would have made anyway. So in a way you can have more freedom, and eventually you can train your mind to like get out of that being worried all the time, you know, about having like a less stable income.
You can get fired from any job.
Yeah, true.
So like nothing's stable, but I get it. You know, you don't have to think like every day when we're not working as a freelancer, you have to be thinking about work. It's not like you get off all the time. I've done this, for example, I go do a shoot. Okay. I do the shoot. I got to send the footage back. Not always the case, but I have to remember to invoice. I have to monitor that paycheck. I have to think about the taxes that are going to come out of that check. Because if it's just untaxed 1099, like you're going to have to pay for that eventually when you claim it.
Like you said earlier, you got to worry about mileage.
You have to worry about mileage, but just the invoicing. But then you don't know where your next gig is, so you're like,
while you're doing all that,
you're trying to find your next gig. Like,
yeah.
You're reaching out to people, you're applying. And if you're not doing that, then you need to be working on something creative yourself to show that you're still doing stuff. So then you're planning or trying to do your own creative thing. But then you might have 2 gigs coming up and you're doing pre-production on those 2 gigs. And that could like burn you out or overwhelm you. And then you could be dead for like 2 months after that. So you could be busy to the point where you're like, I can't do this shit anymore. And then you could be like dead for 2 months and be like, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to quit.
So it's actually kind of weird, because that's totally true. Like, we've been up to this point, we've been talking about how as a freelancer, you might not be working as often as someone with a full-time job, but sometimes it's the opposite, because sometimes like you might be booked on a feature and then you think, oh, I'll get off that feature and I'll have some time off. But then you book a feature right after that, and it's like you've been working 14 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week for a month straight, and now you're about to do it again, and you don't realize your body is like already shutting down and you're getting burnt out, and you're just working nonstop. So it goes both ways sometimes. I think that's like something that's
and then
important
traveling. Like, I travel a lot. Then you factor that in, and like getting flights and like planning the rental cars and hotels, and I mean, it's such.
We actually have to do this right after we get off this podcast. We have to book a hotel for Thursday, or is it Thursday?
Yeah, we're going to San Jose, shooting a gig in San Jose, and then I'm in DC, and then I'm in Vegas.
Yeah,
all before the holidays. It's gonna be a good month. What's funny is I moved to Los Angeles September 1st, and I've been back to the East Coast 3 times for work already. And this is my 4th time back since September. And that's part of freelance hustle. It's like, I don't have to go there, but it's like, I got these offers on the East Coast for gigs, and it's like, I could sit here and be like, no, I'm West Coast, I'm in Los Angeles. Or I could look at the pay and be like, you know what? All right, it's worth it. I'll just fly out and travel. And then sometimes they won't cover my travel. They're like, oh, we want to hire someone as a local. And it's like, okay, let me do the math here. I can get a flight for like $250 round trip, and I'm going to make X amount for this gig, offset it, and still worth it. And it's like, yeah, you'll still do the hustle if it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, so something that I wanted to talk about personally, so like this past week, I've been basically off work and I haven't been doing anything. And what I wanted to talk about is like, how you stay productive during that off time, and ideas for different things that you can be doing. Which you mentioned a lot of that type of stuff, because it's like, when you're not working, it doesn't mean you're not working. It means you're applying to gigs and you're keeping up with clients and you're worrying about invoices and taxes and like all this like stupid computer shit. But like there are other things too. Like I think that there's something to be said about like you don't want to forget about all the benefits that you get of having that freedom of like being able to like not work and get to do like personal stuff in your off time. Like when you're not on set, you should be taking advantage of that time and being able to like focus on your personal development.
Yeah, it's okay to turn gigs
hobbies,
down too for downtime.
Mental health stuff. Like
mental health.
Like I don't think we should forget, like because we're freelancers and we're worried where the next check is going to be, I don't think we should forget about all the benefits that come with being a freelancer, which is like the ability to be like, I'm not feeling well today, I'm going to sleep in an extra hour and not feel guilty about that. Like that's why I took this job, is like that's a benefit. I should take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's so many benefits to freelancing. That's why we do it. And like, that's why I'm not settled down.
And I don't feel like people talk about that enough. Like no, like that's something that's awesome that we should all like be enjoying about having this lifestyle. That's what makes it so badass. And I like not having to work every day. Like I feel like a kid.
And for you, those that don't know, I could have a completely separate career if I want to. I did 10 years in the Air Force working on airplanes, and I would make way more than I'm making right this second. And I could have easily just done that full time. But me making less currently and having the freelance lifestyle
happier.
Is like worth more to me.
Yeah.
Like that's better value. Because
exactly.
I had no time to be creative. Like you're just working all the friggin' time, and then you make money, and then on your days off you want to like go live your life and do things and go out to eat and go see movies and like go explore and adventure and all that, and then you're not doing anything creative because you're working all the time.
Like for me, I'm such a multifaceted that sounded like a really like egotistical thing to say, but let me finish the sentence. I'm like a multifaceted person in that I like doing a lot of different types of creative things. So we were talking about having that like creative lifestyle as before, like as in cinematography creative stuff, but like there's other creative stuff I like to do. I like to draw and paint. I like to write like poetry and stuff, and I like to screenwrite, even though I'm not getting paid to be a screenwriter. I like to just write short films. I like to build stuff. Like I built my
find
desk
visual inspiration in all those activities too.
You
could bring to your thinking on set.
Yeah, that you bring to your career. But being a freelancer allows me to explore all these other wonderful things about life that I wouldn't have nearly as much time to explore and to enjoy if I was like working full time. And I could probably still find time to do that types of stuff, but you know, not as much of it. Like I just this morning I just started getting back into doing like Tai Chi and like focusing on like I woke up, I did a half hour of Tai Chi, like 15 minutes of stretches, and then like a half hour workout. It's the first time I've done that in like probably like 6 months, and it felt so good to get back into doing that. And like now I want to start doing that every morning again, you know.
Northeast awesome. Coasters are just watching this like these fucking California millennial hipsters. Just fucking get a job, grind your fucking heart out, buy a house, start a family, and shut the fuck up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm from the Northeast, so I can say that.
Yeah, exactly. We can say that because we're from the East Coast.
And like they do, dude. I did a gig just recently in New York City. So I had a flight. It was like last minute, so I booked my travel last minute. And I was supposed to get in at like 8 p.m., but I ended up getting in at like midnight because of like I had to change flights and stuff. And I had to be in New York City at 7 a.m. and I flew into Philadelphia. Long story. But
damn.
So I had like, then I didn't get to like my place of rest until 3 a.m. because I had to get the rental, and I had to take a shuttle to get the rental. Anyway, so I had like no sleep, but you hustle and you get it done. And I was at like a Wawa, which is a popular
love it
like gas station 7-Eleven-y type place, but better. They have good made to order food, good quotations.
Wawa is fucking awesome.
Memorable. So it was 5:30 a.m. and I'm at this Wawa, and I thought I was like up early. I was like, damn, 5:30, I'm up grinding, to get to work and shit. And there's a fucking line. All these like construction workers and shit, just like, dude, this Wawa's packed. These people are already up and living, like been living.
This was in New York, right?
No, this is in New Jersey.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like going through New Jersey and I stopped at a Wawa to get into New York. And I'm like, dude, fucking Northeast Coasters, they fucking work. Like 5:30 a.m. They've already had their smoke and coffee. And they're in line at Wawa for their breakfast. They just look like they already been working. And it's like, I know they're just going to grind out like 10 hours and then go the fuck home, put on the sports and shit.
Yeah. That's crazy.
They're just workers, man.
I think
I just respect it.
Well, yeah, totally.
But I thought like I was like hustling at 5:30 and how I was doing it. I was like, dude,
well,
they're hustling just as hard, if not harder.
To be fair, you were hustling harder because you didn't sleep that night. You were
They
traveling
probably
from
didn't
the
either.
airport.
They probably went out to the bar and fucking lived.
But I think what has given me perspective on all this stuff was the couple months that I spent working full time in Florida, because I really loved that experience. So for all of you that nobody knows this, that's listening. So I was working at this company in Florida doing basically all of their media content, shooting all their videos, mainly for YouTube, and doing
I flew
some
down
Facebook
and
stuff.
shot for a little bit.
Well, that wasn't during the 3-month period.
No.
That was a separate gig that we got with the same company. But it was awesome, and I loved the work. It was really fun. I loved all the people at the company. They're all really close friends of mine from the past. So I've been friends with these guys.
They're looking for someone now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Paradigm. Aviator.
Yeah. It's really cool work. And I really did like the consistency, and like literally I went 3 months without having to apply to a freelance gig, or without having to take a freelance gig, without having to write an invoice. Like, it was amazing.
And they're Aerobatic Paramotor flyers.
Yeah, so basically,
just so they have context.
Yeah. What this company is a paramotor training school. So they teach people to fly paramotors, which I won't explain what those are. If you're interested, you can Google what a paramotor is if you don't know what it is. But they have a lot of, like, they're really focused on their social media and creating videos, really cool, like action sports videos, like really fun videos to shoot. So the work was really, really fun. But at the same time, it started getting old, the consistency. It started getting not old, but I should say like boring because of the repetitiveness of it. And it wasn't that challenging work. So, and even if it was maybe challenging the first couple of days or the first week, it stopped being challenging because I got so good at doing that specific type of thing.
Formula,
over.
man.
And I mean, some people I commend because they can just do like repeat work every single day. Like Connor was telling me how he loves that about his job, is like it's the same thing every day.
I
it's
thought
not
about
stressful.
that for like people that film sport games. Like they're shooting those on like Aries and stuff, like NFL films. They use Aries.
Yeah, but it's the same thing every day.
Yeah,
it's
the
the same
sports.
exact.
I mean, if that's
camera.
what you live and breathe, I get it. Like it's like skateboard filmers.
True.
Like they just film skateboarding.
Yeah, like if you really love football, that's probably awesome.
Yeah, I get it.
And for me, like I really love paramotoring. I fly paramotors myself, and I like, it's my favorite thing next to filmmaking. So I love it. But even despite that, the repetitiveness of it.
If you have it,
Yeah, and I think Eric, like the owner of Aviator, like I still think he didn't quite get it. Like he supports me in my goals and my dreams, and I think he probably understands it, but in a sense I still think he's probably confused. Like, I'm offering this guy like full-time work and decent pay, and he loves doing this. He loves filmmaking and flying paramotors. He's getting to do both of those things. This is the dream job. Like, why doesn't he want to do this forever? And it's the consistency. I actually don't like. I discovered about myself, I don't like consistency.
Yeah.
It makes life boring. I need every day to be different.
Like,
and
what
new.
else? What's next?
Right.
Always.
Yeah. And that's something you get from freelancing. So.
Yeah, no project's the same. I mean, sometimes we do these corporate things, but as long as you don't get stuck in the rut.
Right, but it's like 3 times a month.
Every music video is different.
Right.
Every short film's different. The directors are different. The casts are different. Crew you work with is different. Locations are different. Just someone's revving it up. If you hear that. Living in Hollywood, so I'm sure there's plenty of background noise.
It's not so bad. I'm not hearing too much on my mic. I feel like the sound in here is pretty decent. I guess we'll find out when we edit this and mix all the audio together.
Yeah, I don't know how like sound dampening these old Hollywood walls are. So
yeah,
weird.
I don't know. So what do you want to talk about next? Like how you get work? Like, do we want to talk about sort of like where our income streams come from? Like you mentioned, like all these platforms we use.
Sure. So I guess one topic that people definitely question about, it's like you're fresh out of film school, or you have a camera and you're starting to get work, but you need to like, you want to get over the hump of making this like full time. Mm-hmm. So how do you do that? Where do you find work if you don't build up enough comeback, like repeat clients? So your first instinct is like, oh, like Mandy.com, there's Production Hub, there's Staff Me Up,
even
there's
Craigslist. When we're starting out, we used Craigslist like first year.
And I haven't looked at Craigslist in a while. I should.
Since we graduated,
like legit gigs. Didn't we got Fireball Run from Craigslist, didn't we?
No.
Or is that
you
Staff
got
Me
Fireball
Up?
Run through the veterans program, right?
No.
Or no,
I think it was Staff Me Up. It might have been
the
Staff Me Up.
showrunner discovered you were a veteran and hired you because of it, but I guess it was not.
It was either Craigslist or Staff Me Up. I thought it was Craigslist.
It might have been, but I got it just because of you. I didn't apply through Craigslist.
Long story short, I found this gig on Craigslist and applied to it, and it was this like Amazon travel reality TV show thing. Yeah. And I shot that, and then I came back and shot a second season, and then I met a second unit director who was a DP of a Western that brought me onto that Western that had Danny Trejo in it, and that Western's on Netflix right now. All because I answered a Craigslist ad.
Yeah.
So there's benefits.
For all transparency, like that Amazon reality show wasn't anything special. It wasn't like, what's that one everybody watches? American Race or whatever. No.
Amazing Race.
Amazing Race, not American Race. It's not like that level. It was really low budget, but it had a humongous crew.
I got to go in the morphing time at Mount Rushmore with the Red Power Ranger, though.
Yeah, and we were shooting on shitty cameras. Like, compared to the Amazing Race, they shoot on, like, FS7s, and I think nowadays they're shooting on...
And drink a beer with Brian O'Halloran. So, like, there was, like,
it was fun times. But, I mean, and, like, we weren't getting paid that much. So, I mean, like, in comparison, like, the guys on Amazing Race, they're probably getting paid, like, nearly $1,000 each. Like, they're getting paid really good. I mean, it's union. This was
basically a self-funded show. Like, it didn't have any...
The way they
Ripley's,
made their money...
believe it or not, was, like, the only tie.
Their business model was very weird. We won't get into that.
That's...
But the point is like he got work for like a 2-week straight production. It was whatever. It wasn't as amazing as it sounds.
It was. And then looking back, I had fun.
You got a second season on it, which was 2 more weeks the next year.
It was just hanging out with Mark and Ivan, which is like the fucking
my whole point of this, Chris, is that because of that like random Craigslist gig, we weren't getting an amazing day rate or anything, whatever. You got an amazing feature film with Danny Trejo, like shooting in New Mexico. Like that's where the work comes from. Like it's a matter of just like taking opportunities and like working on a shitty thing, and you never know what's going to happen. You never know who you're going to meet.
And I didn't pay to apply to that. Craigslist is free. You just go on and find gigs.
Craigslist people.
I mean, there's plenty of bad gigs on there too, but you can just read the description. You can figure it out pretty quick. But so then it's like, okay, now staff me up, Mandy.com, all these pay for services. Sometimes like, and it's the worst model. I really hate it, honestly. Where it's
I like it the more I use it.
It's like you pay $10 or $15 a month if that's the route you go. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, or $100 a year. And then it's like, okay, great. Now you can apply to gigs. But guess what? People could pay more money and your application will actually be seen.
That's the only part I don't like.
And it's like, what?
That's the part I don't like.
Then like, why even have the other one? That's just taking money. You have to buy the better one to get the benefits.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is it's like, okay, like for which one is it? Production Hub, I think. I don't want to, so don't quote me on this, but one of them that I use quite often, it's exactly like you said. It's like you pay for a monthly subscription, but then when you apply to the gig, you can pay like an extra $2 to get your application higher on the list. So it's seen more visibly, because when these job posts go out, so many people apply so quickly that if you apply hours after the gig is posted, you're going to get lost and they're not even going to read your application. So the way I see it is like yeah, it's $2 to increase the chance that my portfolio will be seen or my application will be seen. But if I get the gig, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So what is $2 if I get the gig?
Yeah, but
That's the way I see it.
I don't like their model though, because there's so many people doing this, and now you're like spending all this money for a small chance of you getting these gigs. It's like, I don't know, it just seems like a lot of money.
I think it doesn't.
I hate the
wind up
idea
being
of
too much.
paying for the chances to like get a job.
And the more I apply to these things, the better I get at writing cover letters and stuff. And, you know, the better my portfolio gets and the better my resume gets and stuff, the more my percentage of getting these gigs increases. Like, especially like since we just started and then like 3.5 years later, the percentage of gigs I get is like, it used to be like 0.5% of gigs I applied to. And now it's like 15-20% of the gigs I apply to. It's like a lot better.
Some production hub gigs you don't need to pay to apply. It's like 0 credits.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
Yeah. And those are far and few between. Those are only like once every couple weeks you'll find something that's like a good opportunity.
I got that New York gig.
Yeah.
Where I was up there for like weeks.
That was
a 0 credit
TV
free
show, basically.
gig.
Yeah. Normally those ones that are
Media match. Dude, I had one of those for an entire year and like I got nothing off of it. And I was just like,
yeah, I don't know, man. Your application sucked. I don't know what to tell you.
no, just like some platforms I get work off of, but I don't know.
No, true. I have more success on
I just
some
don't like
than
the
others.
idea. It's
I
like
think
I've
the
put enough
one
money out.
I have most success on is Staff Me Up. And Staff Me Up is more
just seems like a lot of
for,
reality on there.
Right. Reality and documentary work. Some journalism stuff. That's
Story
most of
Hunter
what
was
Staff Me
cool
Up
for a
is.
little while.
No one knows about Story Hunter. Like, it's if you mention it, no one's ever heard of it before. Because Story Hunter is another one of
Industry
these
Jump
platforms.
seems to be picking up. I get like inquiries on Industry Jump for gigs.
It is picking up, yeah, especially in Philly. It's weird.
Yeah,
Not as
the
much
East
in LA.
Coast is.
Yeah, it's weird. But Story Hunter is like mainly for journalism, which is why nobody knows about it in the film industry. But yeah, they're out there, and I mean, we both do get a lot of work through them. And that was how I originally discovered the agency that we use now, who I don't want to name because competition's sake. And that was through probably, I think, Staff Me Up or Mandy or something originally. And now we don't have to use that site
Really?
anymore
I didn't know
because
that.
Now they use us. So
that's key, is like you just want to get in tight. Like we had one of these companies I won't name, when we were in college we were working for, and it was just this one agency that just kept tossing us gigs. We were getting paid way less.
Yeah, way less. But we were still in college, so.
But we just having that little nest egg where it's like, oh, you know, there's at least 1 to 3 gigs a month that are going to come from this, and it's going to give us money, and then we can do whatever we want. We have all this flexibility because like we already have like our month mate from that
awesome.
one, and we have like now we have another agency we work with, and I get so much work from it.
And if you think about it like this, like it's a snowball, right? So if you can get like 4 clients that consistently will get you work, and when I say client, I just mean anyone who's going to hire you. So whether that be like a corporate client who's going to hire you for corporate videos,
or a director,
producer.
anybody.
But if you get like 4 people who consistently hire you like once a month, then that's 4 gigs every month. And I don't know, say your rent is $1,000 a month, divide that by 4. That's only $250. If you're making $250, which is a low day rate, but if you're making that for each of the 4 gigs you get, without applying to anything, you're just paying rent every month just from these gigs. You're just getting automatically because you lock down these consistent clients. So if you think of it like that, all you need is like 3-4 consistent clients who will hire you once a month, and suddenly a freelance lifestyle is like way more feasible and not even really that stressful anymore.
Yeah, like it's December 1st, and just from the gigs I have, the 3 gigs, I know my month and next month is already made. So like I know I could be, now my mind's freed up. Like I don't have the stress of, I'm still looking for my next gig, but I don't have the stress of like, oh, if I don't have this, I'm
right.
Like,
exactly.
So
like December 3rd. December 3rd, I literally got an offer today to shoot 3 days straight. So I would have had 3 days worth of day rates worth of income. I had to turn it down. But within 3 days into the month, I had an entire. It would have wound up being like 3 months worth of rent. I literally would have paid rent 3 times over in.
He's got a really good deal on rent
in that
here.
one gig.
Situations.
That was a bummer that I couldn't take it, but yeah, I think that's like a really important thing, and I think that's probably the most important thing that you need to consider as a freelancer, like where you get your income from, is these people who hire you back over and over. So if you're a DP, that means like it could be corporate clients, or it could be like directors or producers, and it could also be other camera people. So Chris, for instance, like when you get a DP gig, you're going to hire me to AC for you. We talked about this in episode 1. When I get a DP gig, I'm going to hire you. And like if you have a director friend, every time that director shoots a music video or commercial,
build a network for
they're
sure.
going to hire you. And so if you have 4 friends who each get 1 project a month that they can hire you on, so if they're having any type of success whatsoever, then they're going to hire you and you're in that tight circle. So that's all you need.
There's no reason to back yourself in a corner where it's like, I want to shoot narratives and that's all I'm doing. And I'll wait for that moment to come and I'm not going to.
You should definitely diversify.
Yeah.
Definitely diversify.
Because by diversifying, it gives us the opportunity. Like, we don't have to sit there. Because when I don't know where my next paycheck's coming, I'm all my time in it. Like, I'm just so narrow focused where I'm just like, okay, now I need to find my next gig. And that's what I obsess over. I don't have any time to be creative. I don't have any time to do anything other than like I'm constantly looking for work. But then it's like, okay, I got the gigs for a couple months. I'm set. Now I can sit back and now I'm able to let creativity happen naturally and not forcefully because I have the time and space and like mental health to deal with that. Because that's another thing with this career, which the hardest thing to manage in my personal experience, the hardest thing to manage out of all of it is time for your own personal creativity. Because
I think that's something I think you especially struggle with. I think you have difficulty like not turning your brain off, but if you don't have work coming in, like you're not good at waiting.
Yeah, and I also, this job, the way I see to be a good DP is to know the cameras as well. It's not just an assistant camera's job or a DIT's job. So I'm also using my free time to study up on all the technical aspects of what's coming new in the industry, the new cameras and new gear that I'd be working with in my department, as well as other gear in the industry, just to know. And same with lighting. But then I'm also taking time to watch movies to get inspired and see how other DPs shoot things. And I also watch like videos from like Shane Hurlbut.
Constant education.
And so constantly educating, reading. And then you're doing all that because you want to be better at your craft, but then it's like, and then you get the next job, and it's like, when am I ever getting time?
When do you get to have time for yourself? Yeah.
I get stuck in idea mode. Like I'll even write, and I'll be like, good, I just read the script, I can make this now, but I got to catch up on all this boom, and then I'm just back to work, and it's like I have so much shit.
Yeah. So we're not
perfect.
Neither of us. You know, I'm probably a little bit better at being able to like turn my brain off and being patient about waiting for work when I don't have it, and getting to do other things that I enjoy besides the career stuff. But I think also there's something to be said. I think that's like why you stand out so much amongst our peers, is more than anybody I know, you're the one who will like sit down at your computer for 8 hours a day and like research. And like I feel like you'd be a really good first AC if you decided to focus on it more, because you know more about the gear and the technical shit behind every camera system like on the market right now than most other people do, just because like that's all you think about 24/7.
No, it's not that I just think about gear. I don't know. I like technology, so I think it just like fuels my interest as well. But I also like constantly study like lighting, and I do watch like a lot of videos. Oh yeah, I said I was going to talk about it, so I got to talk about it really fast. Budgeting yourself.
Oh yeah.
So you have to think about what you want for your day rate. Also think about mileage. Also and you should be able to work it in. A lot of people don't even try, but people, even just using the terminology of standard federal mileage rate, which is a real thing. 58 cents, I think it is. 58.
In 2019, yeah, I think it's 58.
58 cents per mile, and you could do that round trip.
It's actually funny how much I've realized people don't do that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of guys we work with on these corporate videos, when we show up, we're working with another camera guy.
I know agencies are like, shut up.
Yeah.
Now everyone's asking for mileage. But yeah, I just ask and I'm like, oh, okay. And then you never know. Like sometimes I'll do a gig in San Jose and I'll be like, hey, all right, this is my day rate. It is this many hours away from me. I'll drive up, charge mileage. It will be about this rate, and I'll get a hotel room and it'll cost this much. Is that cool? And a lot of times we'll be like, yeah, whatever. Like that's easier than us having to find someone and deal with all this. So just think about that when you're budgeting yourself, and also don't under budget and take a gig up there and only get paid like $400, and then you drive 5 hours and get a hotel or fly somewhere and then like it's a wash. At least you're working, I guess. Only do that if it's like a real movie though.
Yo,
it has guaranteed distribution. Don't wash yourself out on gigs.
Can I give my secrets to working out your day rate and to negotiating your price?
Yeah, give them.
All right. I'm about to give away all of my secrets here for how I negotiate my day rate. Ready?
Neuway secrets.
Okay. NEU, new secrets.
We should do this every podcast. We'll have Neuway secrets.
Oh, like a little segment, like little Neuway secrets. Yeah. All right. So when you're applying to gigs, say you go to like productionhub.com and you apply to a gig, and maybe on the post it doesn't say what the day rate is, because sometimes they'll write like looking for a DP 500 a day or something, but sometimes they'll just say looking for a DP. Sometimes they'll ask to send your own day rate, or they won't even mention rate at all yet. Sometimes it'll say like fully funded or low budget or whatever. So when you get on, you send an email or whatever, or you send your cover letter, you put down all your information, you send it to them, they get back to you, and they're like, what's your day rate? Whenever I get asked that question, what's your day rate, my response is never a number. My response is always, here it is. Ready? Here's the secret. My day rate varies depending on the scope and budget of the project. And then sometimes I ask it a couple different ways. Like, what is your budget? And that will, whatever, or can you explain or give me more details on the project? Or I'll say, what do you think would be a fair rate, all things considered, understanding the scope and scale and the budget of your project? What do you think you can afford? And you put the ball in their court. So then they have to name a number. And the beautiful thing about, you basically force the client to name the number. The beautiful thing about that is if they name a number that's higher than you were expecting, you can accept it, and you can accept it in a way that makes it sound like they're getting a deal. So you can be like, yeah, I think that number should work fine. And it automatically makes them think like, oh, great, like I got him for a good deal. That's what I could afford, and that's how much he's allowing, whatever. If they name a number that's lower than your rate, then all you have to do is respond with the original number you would have done it for anyway, right? So whatever your lowest number was, that's higher than theirs. So you can say, well, say they offer like 300 a day, and that's too low for you. You could say, well, I was thinking more like 500 a day. Would you be able to meet me in the middle? That way, you're getting more, well, they're having to pay more than they would, but they still feel like they're getting a deal, and you're getting more than you would have if you just accepted their 300 a day. If you're not willing to meet them in the middle, then just don't take the project. It's as easy as that. Just walk away. And if they're not willing to go above 300, then congratulations, you didn't get taken advantage of. That's what I tell people. And then you just don't take the gig. If you're willing to take it for 300, then just take their offer for 300. But if you're not, that's your response. So that's my secret. That's how you negotiate budgets.
Neuway secrets.
I feel like that was pretty long-winded, but that was like top-notch information right there.
And it's also not necessary. It's not like, for you producers and hirers out there, it's not like a way to get over.
No, it's not manipulation.
It's literally,
it's just negotiation.
And not only that, like, it really does depend on project budget.
And it really does. It's not a lie.
Like, you may think like, oh, it's a simple 4-hour shoot, and it's like, yeah, but what's happening in those 4 hours? Like, what? Oh, how much do I have to light? Oh, no lighting at all. Boom, that's less work and less stress and less thinking and less gear. Just like, oh, we have natural daylight. It's out. It's an exterior. Like, just knowing that changes the rate.
Right.
You know.
Exactly. Like, is it a 4-hour shoot and we need to get 10 shots
am I
in those
handheld?
4
Do I
hours?
need an easy rig?
Or are you trying to get 40 shots in those 4 hours?
Yeah, is this a steady cam? Is it all one long take? Because that could be a very stressful day full of choreography and heavy lifting, and that could be a different day rate, you know?
And it should be, in my opinion.
Yeah, so like that's really...
And the other beautiful thing about negotiating in that way is when you find... A lot of the times you'll find clients who are willing to pay more because they want someone who's really good at their job, who's not going to fuck up on the job, who's not going to like accidentally like wipe a memory card and like not transfer footage properly, or, you know, drop a lens and it breaks in the middle of it or whatever, you know? Anyway, so yeah.
So Neuway tips.
Neuway tips.
We should do this. We should do like tips every time. Neuway secrets. Sorry, secrets.
secret. Like it's a secret.
Yeah, we'll have to have like a
little text.
The font,
thing
but like
that, like,
hologrammed.
fades away or
There's
whatever.
like secrets. Think like a reading rainbow thing, multicolor hologram.
Okay. Are you
Secrets.
gonna do that in the edit, or are you hoping I'm gonna?
Probably
do it?
not. Yeah, if you could do that.
All right, cool. I say we wrap it up there.
All right, so you could see me on Instagram at @cmurray right here,
or bscottyg.
There's newwaymedia.com, which is our little endeavor that we have. There's chrismurrayfilm.com,
BrennanGrantDP.com.
That's where work is. There's also our YouTubes. Use what's already
Neuway
provided
Media.
to get there. Neuway Media.
If you're watching this video, it's on Neuway Media's YouTube. And if you're listening to this, it could be on a lot of different platforms.
And just for like what's coming in the future, we should talk about really quick. So we'll do this more regularly.
Yeah.
We're going to start having guests on, talking about different facets of just the creatives, not just this industry, but the creative industry. We'll do a watching separate podcast.
Yeah, I hope so.
Where we could preface our thoughts if it's like a sequel.
It could be an old movie or a brand new movie.
So we'll have the before, then we'll give you a go. You watch the movie, we watch the movie. Camera's not on, then we come back and talk. It'll be a little movie night.
Yeah, movie club.
And a little movie club.
Neuway
We'll
Movie
start
Club.
doing that, and then we should do like some tips, tutorials, things like that. We should start
I'm not
those
sure if
going.
that's going to be in the podcast format or just in the YouTube video format, like Q&A sessions. We could do it in a podcast format too.
Yeah, maybe.
If we get enough questions to fulfill like a half hour or an hour long episode.
Cool. So that's just things to look forward to, and if there's anything you guys are interested in.
Yeah, give us feedback on what you want to see, and that will help influence what we make.
But we'll start with this as our priority.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us for probably over an hour now.
Yeah, it's been over an hour.
We probably didn't talk nearly enough about freelance. We just scratched the surface at a 30,000-foot view, but...
Well, what I like about it is it's just whatever pops in our mind at that moment, you know?
And if there's any requests, we can just dive deeper and cover just
Exactly.
one thing specifically in the future.
Yeah. All right. This has been Beyond Cinema, presented by Neuway Media. I'm Brendan Grant.
Cool.
Chris Murray.
Later.
Thanks for watching.